Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the One Hit Point Podcast. I'm your host, Noah, joined by
Jack.
This is the show where we talk about video games, D&D, and all things nerdy. How's it going, man?
It's going well. It's going quite well. It's a beautiful day to spend inside recording a podcast.
That's right, in the dark dungeon of the recording studio. What you been playing?
Not much has changed. I've been deep into the Warhammer Total War 3. Sorry, I was trying to get the name right there.
Total War Warhammer.
Total War
Hammer.
Warhammer pikes and shot, because there's that in the games too.
Sure.
So I've been doing that to the point of near exhaustion, to be honest with you. Like, I might need to break and do something else. The turns just keep rolling into each other at this point. So, yeah, how about yourself?
Yeah, again, I feel like this is like a work meeting where I have nothing to share. Not too many updates. But yeah, I've got still been playing Chained Echoes. So if you listen to last week's episode, well, great, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, go listen to it. But Chained Echoes, modern JRPG style game. Very fun. I finished the second act. So I don't know how many acts there will be. I was thinking maybe 3, but
that's traditional.
That's traditional, but then again, who knows? It's a cool game. It's a really cool game, though, and we might talk about it a little bit more later. And outside of that, my kind of friend game of choice these days has still been Peak, the mountain climbing survival game. We have done multiple ascension levels, because once you beat it once, you can like ramp
prestiging.
Yeah, exactly. You ramp up the difficulty.
Yeah,
it's getting too hard though.
Oh, really?
Well, I think we're up to maybe 5 or 6, and what that is like, not only do things weigh more and you have less stamina and you get hungry faster, it's also the nights are cold now, so you just have to like huddle for warmth as you're getting hungry, and it's just getting so punishing that we might not make it past that, but that's fine. We've done pretty well.
You've been playing it for a while.
Yeah, it's our go-to, like, boot up with friends. I think it started off as like kind of a jokey experience, and now we're all kind of like hardo sickos about it. We're like, okay, who's got this? You got that? No, what are you doing? Like, it's very, it's a very fun game. But yeah, I don't think we have too much more to talk about in terms of like new games that we've played, but we have lots of other things to talk about in this week's episode. Yes. We've got some more D&D stuff, and then we'll talk about some more theoretical things from video games as well. But why don't we switch gears? We'll start with the D&D stuff this week. Yep. So this week we wanted to talk about failed campaigns that we need to give another try. Specifically, I guess, modules, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't you take it away? What's your first one that you want to bring up?
Oh man, the saddest first one is Descent to Undermountain, which is a classic D&D adventure where you descend under mountain, and that's what you do. Anyway,
is that the like big mega dungeon one?
Yes,
and it's underneath the yawning
portal. You're in Waterdeep.
Right.
Yeah. Gale brings it up in Baldur's Gate 3.
That's a high level adventure.
So it's I think for 5e, the remake of it was actually, no, I'm wrong. I think it's like level 5 plus 5 to maybe higher than that.
I think it's a big one.
It's a big one, and there's definitely some serious hard high level creatures in this thing. Like there's like matron drow mothers, which are a big deal.
Okay.
Things like that. So in that regard, it is very hard. I was thinking there is one 5e that they made like 1 to 20. It's but you level up very quickly. But it's not this one. I was mistaken. So anyway, it's very famous. It has a famously awful, buggy video game, which was made. It is Descent to Undermountain. It's like mid 90s, late 90s, and it was just an awful failure because they bought like the Descent engine, which was like a flying game engine, and they were like, let's make a CRPG out of this, and chaos erupted. Like, it was just stupid. It failed, and the potential was there. Like, you have this amazing module with like so much lore, but it was so broken that even the modern modders today have tried to remake it, and I don't know, they haven't like released it again.
Did they think that the engine would work just because it was called Descent and the game was called Descent?
I think they were being clever. Or they thought they were being clever anyway. And so I think it was a corporate thing. It was like, we've bought this engine. and we also have the D&D license. We need to use them both.
Yeah.
And that's stupid.
I think it's interesting. I think there's been a lot of D&D, like some of the biggest video games of all time have been D&D related, right? Original Baldur's Gate 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
The Gold Box series, like you talked about on our very first episode of the show. Wow. But there's been so many great ones, and I think there's also been a lot of dumpster ones as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. You know what gets me is the early 3D polygon shit. When you're like, that kind of gets me. That's why I like Baldur's Gate 2 and 1 and 2 are so nice for that kind of isometric, hand-painted backgrounds and things.
Yeah.
There's a few series, Neverwinter Nights or whatever. Those ones I tried to play. I'm like, the graphics are just, they're in between. They're in that weird, uncomfortable teenage phase where they have acne and they haven't grown yet and they suck.
I have heard that Neverwinter Nights 2 is like a great game.
I've heard so too.
Maybe
but
just
I want
a
to
little.
Play.
I know, and I think they did a remaster, like an HD remaster recently. But I don't think it was so well received. I think there were like issues and just poor performance. And it's like, guys, you're remaking like a 20-year-old game. Yeah. Why can't you get it right?
Just remake it and the Baldur's Gate 3 engine. Everything will be fine.
That's where the modders come in, because I saw that there was a modder working on I think remaking all of Baldur's Gate 1 in the Baldur's Gate 3 engine.
Incredible. There's going to be a lot of walking through fields. So that's Baldur's Gate 2 is like amazing for all the different places you visit, and you're fighting Sahuagins under the sea, and then you're in mountains fighting dragons. Baldur's Gate 1 is like a lot of walking through fields. It's very good. It's a very good game, but it's a little dry by comparison.
Okay.
Might be a good way to test out this process.
Yeah, exactly. So anything else you want to say about Descent to Undermountain? So why did it fizzle out? What happened?
Intra-team conflicts. The long story short is we were captured by Drow, and everyone, we had like role-playing and metagaming at the same time of what to do. Like literally like in character, but also kind of metagaming. And I was actually a Drow in this campaign, and I was like, I just finished reading the first 3 Drizzt books, and I was like, I know exactly what the fuck is happening here. So like in context, I was a Drow, so I knew, and like for myself, it's like, oh, there's a matron mother, and someone was like, we should try to fight. I'm like, no, no, don't do this. And then it was like, it was sort of this became this thing. It's like, you guys pretend to be my slaves, and then one guy just refused to go along with this, which was, I don't know if it was in character or himself not wanting to do that. And it was sort of like it ended in like a sort of a very heated, uncomfortable player thing. And then it was just never brought up again, and we never kept playing. Yeah. So it really made me sad.
We kind of talked about that idea in the last episode, right? Where you're like so deeply playing your character that it actually interferes with the game.
Fucks up the game.
Think about it like this. In The Lord of the Rings, like, was Legolas or Gimli, were they always down like 100% with what the whole group was doing? Probably not. Probably not always down.
You gotta somewhat,
Sometimes you gotta just be like, okay, well, majority rules. Like, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to... Oh, a good example is Legolas was like, let's get the fuck out of Helm's Deep, homie. Yeah. And then... Naga daga thaya, or whatever he says. That's those classic elven words. And Aragorn, I will die as one of them. And then he stays, and they're buddies,
Yeah, it's true.
And it all worked out for them.
Yep.
So.
Okay. So that's Descent to Undermountain. I'll go next. So I want to revisit Phandelver. So specifically the original starter set for 5th edition is called The Lost Mines of Phandelver. Came out probably, just off the top of my head, 2014, I'm guessing. And don't fact check me. But I remember running it. It was definitely my first time ever trying to run D&D. I've talked about it on the show before. It didn't go so well. Had some players who were just joking around and making dick jokes and just being that was the clown archetype from last episode, where it just like takes you out of the game.
Yeah.
And some players who just weren't in it for the long haul, weren't, TTRPG players, like they just didn't have it in them.
Yeah.
So I would love to try it again, but specifically they actually put out a new module called Phandelver and Below. And I think it's supposed to basically rework the first part of the module, kind of massage some messy areas and stuff. So it gets you up to like level 5, like 1 through 5, and then it keeps going. And there's this whole thing with, I think it's like mind flayers and illithid, and
I'm sold.
yeah, it seems fun. And I was like, okay, like, and it's Sword Coast, but it's not, as far as I know, it's not in any like the big cities in the Sword Coast. You're in like Phandelver and these mines and kind of more wildernessy areas. And it just seems fun. It just seems fun, and like weird mutations of wildlife and plants and creatures and stuff. But yeah, I think it would be cool to try that again in a more fully fledged campaign as opposed to like just level 1 through 5 starter set.
Well, you have my sword if you need it. Yeah. I would enjoy playing that. It sounds fun.
It sounds fun, yeah. If we never finish the Tomb of Annihilation, then maybe Phandelver and Below will be the next one.
Oh man,
I'm gonna have to add that to this list at this point.
We're gonna have to get people to plan their pregnancies around the D&D.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's kind of rude that they didn't consider that.
Yeah, very inconsiderate of them.
So that's Phandelver. I'd love to try it again, get back into it.
I'm down.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good time.
Okay. You've got one more?
Yeah, Icewind Dale it died on the vine because it was the same group from Descent to Undermountain. I think it came before, but the reason we stopped was just a matter of timing. Like people, we were having trouble getting everyone together at the same time, and there was no reason for this. We were like a bunch of single guys. Like, don't pretend like you have shit you got to do. You don't. You're fine. You can make the time. You can make the weekend time. But I think there was something to do with like people wanted to play on weekdays, and then I, especially back then, really didn't want to play on weekdays. So I was like, if we're gonna play D&D, I'm a single man in my late 20s. I want to fucking play D&D
for like 8 hours.
For 8 hours. Yeah. So that's my day. We're gonna order food. We're gonna have some beer, wine. We're gonna play D&D. That's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
I love
so fancy. Wine.
Yeah. It's appropriate. I was often an elf, so it felt appropriate.
Okay.
But that one, it was just scheduling conflicts, which is a shame because it's that one's really like an open world concept, even more so than a lot. Like it's like, here's all of Icewind Dale. What do you want to do? It's like, we'll go over here. All right, so go climb this mountain. Sure. Do you want sled dogs? Like super, very, very open world, and I was loving it. It was just really easy to get as a Canadian. It's really easy to get into that. Like it's a barren wasteland of ice and snow. Perfect. I can imagine that, no problem.
I think on that, like in that vein, I do. And this is not a campaign that I tried, but a campaign that I would like to try is Curse of Strahd. I think
me too.
Going into Barovia and doing some horror RPG stuff would be really fun. I think that would be a whole new skill set in terms of my DMing because I've never done like a horror game. So I think it would be a challenge. It would be a challenge.
That would be awesome. You know what? If you were to pick one that wasn't Phandelver, I would say do Curse of Strahd because I haven't brought this up very much in this channel at all. This podcast, whatever. But I love horror stuff of all kinds, movies, books, etc. The whole thing. So the idea of playing a vampire D&D, let's go.
Yeah, and I think that that campaign is also supposed to be first of all one of the best published for 5e, and also fully open world in the same sort of way as the Lost. What was it? No, Icewind Dale. That's right.
Icewind Dale.
Yeah, so I think that would be a lot of fun. Anyway, any other campaigns that you want to try, return to, anything like that?
Nothing like an official module. Like I've had a couple like runs, small homebrew things where it's like this could have continued, but the notes are lost. The characters are long since deceased and fallen into the void. So, so I think we covered the big ones.
Yeah, I have written some stuff for my homebrew world for like a follow-up campaign sort of thing.
Nice.
I think it would be fun to try to get back into that. It's just to me that world is so synonymous with my players because and we're all playing online and stuff, and everybody's got life and things that have come up, so it would probably have to be like a short thing or once a month or once every 2 months. And at that point, it gets hard, and especially you're playing online, you don't
Yeah.
have the same feeling. I don't know. We'll see what happens if I ever get to that, or if it'll just be, sitting on my shelf, something to try one day.
That's fair. I mean, just on that note, it's something that we can. It's related to this in a big way. Actually, is why do campaigns fail? A lot of the times that continuity gets lost with those long periods of sort of stagnation where you're just not playing, and all right, it's been a month. Let's get together. You only get 3 of the 5 players, and then
Yeah.
the interest is lost. So the importance of actually just sitting down and it's like the gym. The idea, like seriously, it's the idea of like or any sport or anything. It's like just showing up is everything, and just like let's just do it. Let's just show up and have like a short session. Sometimes that's what's necessary to keep these fucking things alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think for me as a DM, if I'm running something and I put out a message like, "Hey, when are people free?" and nobody responds, or it's people's responses trickle in over a week or whatever, I'm like, I don't feel so motivated to make it happen because it doesn't appear to me that people want it to happen. Like I want there to be excitement and memes and gifs and like whatever. I want there to at least be some level of like, hey, when's the next session?
Yeah.
Otherwise, what are we doing?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I also straight up forgot to reply in the chat when you asked, so now I feel bad.
That's okay. Okay, on that note, let's take a short break and we'll come back with some more of the show. Welcome back, everybody. So for this part of the show, we talked about Pokemon Unbound and its likes in previous episodes in terms of, you play something that is so good, but not just good. It's not saying it's like the best of its kind. I guess in the case of Pokemon Unbound, it probably is.
Yeah.
But it's good because of the amazing quality of life. And it also kind of ruins playing other types of games of that genre. Yeah. So I was wondering, like, what are other games that suffer or succeed from this Pokemon Unbound effect that make other games of the genre kind of lesser? So if you start with this one, you're just going to not have such a good time in those other games of that genre. So yeah, for Pokemon ROM hacks, and arguably even for any of the Pokemon games, Pokemon Unbound, it obviously takes the cake because that's what we're calling the Pokemon Unbound effect. But yeah, why don't you take us through some of your thoughts on this?
So before I even talk about other games that sort of represent the same thing, Pokemon Unbound. Pokemon's interesting because it's very simplistic, right? So it's like you can just shore up some cracks and make the perfect game. Like the combat of Pokemon is a one-on-one turn-based RPG. Simple. So you don't have to mess with it too much to make it perfect. Smooth over the little inconsistencies. You fix inventory management a little bit. You make it so you don't have to trade via cord to whoever, and bingo bango. You've improved it so much. So other games it's a little bit harder because they're more complicated, but I'll give you an example of something that represents kind of the same kind of thing where it's perfect. It's like everything's smoothed over, everything works totally fine to the point where these guys just release games, don't even really change them anymore. They just change the set dressing, add a few little tiny mechanics here and there, and bingo, you got a new game. And that's the Total War series. These guys have been putting out the same game since 2000 or 2002. It's crazy. You have a strategic overworld map. Essentially, there's the 2 phases. There's a world strategy where you're moving your armies around and you're building buildings in your towns to make them, produce military units or grow your town or get more gold or things like that, whatever the currency is. And then you have the tactical view for when your armies engage in battle. And then that really hasn't changed much at all. Honestly, I've been playing these games forever, and it's so consistent and works so well. And with a few little tweaks, you can just have the perfect sort of strategy. So every time I see another grand strategy game with tactics and this and that, I'm like, I don't want to learn. Especially this type of game requires some time in. You got to learn the mechanics. You got to read. Kids these days, I couldn't imagine trying to get into Rome Total War. But Total War games is just like, it's so perfect in its formula that it's like, why would you even try to play something else? The only thing that comes close would be like a Civilization, but that's sort of different. It lacks that in-depth tactical mode that the Total War games have.
Yeah, and you could even say that Civilization...
It's a little bit different.
For the 4X, it's called 4X.
Yes, 4X,
for the 4X strategy games, Civilization is probably the winner of the Pokemon Unbound effect.
And it's almost like the progenitor of the thing, too. It's so old. It's like there is older things which exist like on ancient systems, but Civilization's freaking old. So,
and as old as time.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I did mention on the last week's episode, I do think Chained Echoes you could probably put on this list for the kind of retro style JRPGs, because like I said before, it just has so many amazing quality of life things. Get fully healed after every combat. You can just optimize your inventory by pressing a button. It has a lot of systems, it really does, but it just takes a lot of the busy work out of it, which and that's why I'm not necessarily putting Baldur's Gate 3 on this list. I do think if you play Baldur's Gate 3 as your first CRPG, you'll probably be chasing that high, and you probably won't find anything quite like it. But I don't think that's because it's like doing the best and the most with quality of life and things of that nature. I think it's just an amazing story. It's an amazing package. The graphics, the voice acting, like it's doing a lot of the video gamey things really, really well. Whereas a lot of CRPGs just don't look and feel like that. You know, if you play Pathfinder, any of the Pathfinder games, they don't look like that. They don't look like Baldur's Gate.
No.
They look more like the old school CRPGs of days past.
Yes. Baldur's Gate 3 is easy to get a handle on, especially if you've ever played any other CRPGs. But it's also not so simplistic that it's boring. It's like there's still some depth to the combat. There's depth to everything in it, actually, if you want to get into it. If you want to play it on story mode, you can just fireball people and walk through it and listen to Gale talk to you.
So I mean, maybe I did make the argument that it should be part of the Pokemon Unbound effect. It just happens to be with CRPGs. They're so granular and it's hard to get into them, but it's not hard for people to get into BG3.
But I think you're right, though. I think you're right in that. So Pokemon's only Pokemon. Like, it doesn't have crazy depth to it. And don't get at me, you Pokemon fanatics out there, talking about like the secret levels you can't even see of your Pokemon's quality and all this business. But I mean, for example, I played that Rogue Trader, the 40K Rogue Trader game after Baldur's Gate 3, and I got into that game. I was deep into it.
Yeah, but you've played Baldur's Gate 2, and you've played Gold Box
but it's not like I only need Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I could still get into other things afterwards.
Yeah.
But because it provides a different
if Baldur's Gate 3 was your first CRPG... Might be tough getting into some other things.
It could be tough. It could definitely be tough.
Even getting into like Divinity Original Sin 2 after that would be a difficult prospect.
It would be hard. I mean, we had our little experiment where we were playing it a bit. Yeah. And that was fun.
It's fun, but there is actually more barriers to entry, I think, because the systems are a lot more complicated. It's not as simple as like, okay, I got my spells and I got my, like, you have action points and you have schools of magic and you're not like, it's not like a specific class you're following. It's a little bit more complicated. So, I just convinced myself Baldur's Gate. It gets the Pokemon Unbound Effect Award, I guess. Any other genres you want to cover on this?
You only need one puzzle game, and that's Tetris. Once you've played that, why bother playing anything else? Left 4 Dead 2 specifically, because everything is a clone of Left 4 Dead. All these like 4-person killing packs of whatever. And I have played other games in that genre. Like, I played 2 different Warhammer ones. There's Vermintide 2, and I forget the 40K version of it. But at the end of the day, when I think of like actually sitting down and playing with my friends for simple like sit down and have a few quick games, Left 4 Dead is the easiest to drop into because there's no skill points, there's no character levels or any of that stuff, which is all good things if you want. But like, I don't think it's as cohesive to like sitting down with your friends and having a quick game of whatever. So Left 4 Dead is you sign on, everyone's same level, which there is no levels. It's about, you take your guns, which are available, and you go through the AI will adjust itself to how well you're doing. It's a lovely time. So I think in that way, it actually is. It does have the kind of the Unbound effect. If you're playing that, and in the sense that you're playing it as sort of a party game, let's say, like 4 people online, I don't think you can really beat it for a shooter, just because it's simple.
What about Call of Duty Zombies?
I actually hate Call of Duty, but I love Call of Duty Zombies.
I think a lot of people
so
do.
fun.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, it's really
so
fun.
It could be up there in terms
of,
but I think the gameplay loop is a little different though, right?
It is very different. Yeah, because in Left 4 Dead, you're trying to get to the end of the level.
Yeah.
Zombies, get to the chopper kind of thing, and the others just survive until you can't.
Yeah.
Way back when. I'm going to say 15 years ago, I had some serious COD zombie times, and they were lovely. Like up till 3 a.m. at your friend's house, and you're like, oh God, I have to get home, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's it with those survival games where you just keep going till you die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for me, what else we got on here? I would make the case that if you're talking, I'm going to keep going into my JRPG rabbit hole here. If you're talking about like modern JRPGs, not the sort of like Super Nintendo retro style, if you're talking about modern JRPGs, like if you're thinking of the Falcom RPGs or the Tales series, I think Persona 5 Royal is the one to play, and I think if you play it, you're going to have some trouble playing a lot of these other games for many reasons. I mean, it's a fantastic game, but I think just like the visual polish, I mean, all of the Persona games have looked amazing, but the Persona 5 Royal UI team were on a different plane of existence when they were making this game. Every single menu is beautiful and animated and stylized. And if you haven't seen it, you should just go and look at someone going through the menus. It's insane the level of polish they put into every single detail of this game. The combat's really fun. The story is good. I think, it's just if you have the time to play a 100-hour RPG, JRPG, a modern one, this is the one. And I think if you play it, you'll be like, and I've tried it. I've tried getting into the Trails of this in the Sky series, and boy, it's tough. It's tough.
Damn.
Yeah. So Persona 5 Royal, that's an Unbound effect for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
I think we could probably get back into this at another date, but the Pokemon Unbound effect it's a good genre in itself.
Yeah, I think I want to make one hit point before we move on to the next segment.
Okay,
and it is that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the Unbound effect for Mario Karts, and hear me out. I'm not saying it's the best one. I'm just saying that it has the most and the quality of life. It has the most stages, the most kart customization, great music, fun tracks. The racing's good. Like I think it just it does everything really, really well, and it's the polish. The polish is there, you know, and it's such to the point where when they released Mario Kart World, nobody really cares about Mario Kart World because they still just want to play 8 Deluxe. So I think if you're in this modern Mario Kart world, if you're in this modern Mario Kart realm, you're just going to want to play 8 Deluxe after you've messed around with Mario Kart World for a bit because it just doesn't have that same depth and breadth to it.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay.
I probably don't agree with you, but I haven't played it, so
we'll have to get you on the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe train. It just rolls off the tongue. Okay, let's take another break, and we'll come back with the next part of the show. Welcome back, everybody. We're gonna do a new segment for the very first time.
Ow.
Because someone has finally sent in an email.
Holy shit.
So we're going to read the email and we're going to respond to the email.
Incredible.
So this comes in from Aaron. It says, "Hi guys, love your pod. How do you think I should educate my kids about video games without it becoming an obsession or super violent? I want to be realistic. They are going to play games, but I don't want their gaming education to come from Fortnite with their friends online. They are 8 and 10. Thanks."
Well, as an experienced parent,
which neither of
yeah,
us are,
uh,
unless you count animals.
yeah, I don't. I don't.
No, we're not those people. My pet is my kid.
Yeah, I can't. You know what? I understand, and sometimes I think that way a little bit, but then I realize that my pet is way easier to handle than a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not a dog dad.
No, I'm a dog owner.
There you go.
You know?
Okay, so I think you have some thoughts on this. What do you think?
Yeah. I think trying to definitely limit online any kind of gaming is the way, if you can. It's great to game socially, but especially with young, like 8 and 10, I've heard those servers, man, the things that are said. And like you can only shelter your children from so much, and you only should shelter them from so much.
Mm-hmm.
But get them in a room with actual other kids playing games as much as you physically possibly can. Find other parents, your kids' friends. All right, you're having a friggin' sleepover. You're going to play video games. We're going to disconnect the internet for you. You're going to play in a room. You can play pretty much whatever. Violence. I don't know, man. I was literally playing Doom as a 3-year-old, so it's hard for me to comment. I'm wearing a Doom t-shirt right now even. But I think it's sort of forcing them to have real world friends and video games. Don't make it just you're sitting there alone, and there's nothing wrong with that per se, but I think like for us, we didn't grow up with like online gaming to the extent kids are today.
No.
I really started online gaming with World of Warcraft. I was like 15-ish.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was super healthy.
Yeah, it was. You know what? I didn't have at that time. It was Ventrilo, which is how everyone talked. I didn't have that. I was just typing, and it was fine. Like I remember going to friends' places though, and they're playing Call of Duty, and it's like, wow, things are being said. Things I shall not repeat.
Yeah.
In this podcast, So
there was I think it was a college humor skit where some guys at like a job interview, and they're like, hey, great, like, we're really excited about this, we're ready to offer you the job, we just need to pull up your Xbox Live transcripts, and then we'll be all good. And he's like, what do you mean? Why do you need that? So yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're a different person when you have this veil of secrecy.
Oh yeah, everyone's got huge balls when they can't get punched, for sure.
So I think it's tough because I want to say, well, just give them a Game Boy and give them Pokemon and like, teach them the old stuff. But realistically, kids are gonna see their friends, and they're gonna, their friends are playing Minecraft and their friends are playing Fortnite. I would rather them play Minecraft, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Because at least that's just like, Lego the video game,
Pretty much,
like just go and build and do whatever stuff, and probably they're only playing with their friends, and there's no strangers and stuff. So yeah. I'm okay with that. I think you have to set limits. You do have to set limits. You have to stick to those limits.
Yep.
Maybe on weekends the limits are greater than on weekdays.
Yep.
And I think, I think it is important to show them at least like the history of video games, like kind of what we're talking about here. If they start with only modern games and they see old games, they're just going to be like, oh, this is stupid and it looks bad. If you show them like Super Mario Bros. 3, they're going to think it's the best game. And because it is.
It's great.
And then they're going to go and play.
It looks nice.
Yeah, it looks great. And then maybe get a little bit of appreciation for modern games and how far we've come.
Yeah.
That takes a different level of education and so on. But yeah, I think that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Yeah, really showing the history I think it is important. It doesn't have to be like a friggin' class where it's boring to them. It should be fun. But the idea of, I have a quote, which I think I made up. I hope I did anyway, which is just, history is context for reality. So it's like, you need to to understand what's going on in, Doom 55. You need to play Doom 1. You just need to see it. You need to get in there, kill some, zombies and demons of hell, and that'll give you better perspective. Also, old games, while they might have violence, it looks like shit. So you don't have to worry as much.
That's true. That's true. Although, I mean, Mortal Kombat, that was...
Oh, yeah, no, if anyone wants to, all those kids at school, remember they were shooting fire at each other out of their hands and ripping each other's spinal cords out? Mortal Kombat was awful for that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I think one of the big worries is kind of this like dopamine sink
For sure.
that adults and kids get into now, where it's like they're just scrolling or playing the fastest, dumbest games that just give them that sense of that dopamine rush. So I think any time they're going to just sit, and especially if you can get them playing a single play, I'm okay with them doing a single player game too, because it just gives them a little bit of focus within reason, obviously within reason. It's tough. It's tough. I don't blame you for writing in. I don't think we have all the answers to this.
No.
Yeah, set limits, show them old stuff, try to give them a wide breadth of experience with video games, not just the most popular ones that the kids are playing. And don't give them your credit card.
Oh my God, yeah, the micropayments and such. Everyone's heard those horror stories of mom gets home and she's $10,000 into like Roblox or whatever the hell.
Hide that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the most part, I think we were getting more and more aware of, I want to say the dangers because that's too extreme, but it kind of is, the dangers of screens in terms of dopamine addiction and things of that nature that are really kind of disturbing for children.
Yeah.
Like, while Pokemon was definitely designed to steal your time, and get you entranced in this world, it wasn't designed with like dopamine hits in mind, which games are actually designed with now, which is kind of scary. It's like it's very, it disturbs me a little bit. And I know some parents who have sworn off screens for their family. They have 3 kids and they're like, no more screens.
No TV.
And within a week of essentially detoxing, where the kids are angry and like, and they can't deal with this change, to being well behaved and attentive and wanting to talk to your parents instead of give me the screen, give me the iPad, whatever. And they said it was like a remarkable transformation, which is it's awesome for them. Scary though to know that your kids are essentially addicted to drugs.
Yeah,
like 6.
Yeah, I think you're right, and like you said, when we were growing up, and even though we would spend many hours playing Pokemon or whatever, first of all, there was no blue light, there was no, it wasn't keeping you up at night at least, and it just wasn't designed for that quick release. Everything needs to be instant gratification. Try playing Pokemon Red. It's a very slow game. You walk around really slowly.
Yes, absolutely. And like grinding is not the kind of dopamine, I don't know how much you're getting from like killing a Pidgey and your XP bar goes up like indiscernible tiny amount. And also I think, that's the thing about the sort of corporatization of creative stuff in general. It's like, movies of old where it was like someone wanted to tell a story and then they wanted to have these certain artistic choices to bring out the certain mood. And then these days it's like corporate run. How do we make this steal as much attention of your time as possible, make it as addictive as possible? Like when Miyamoto's designing Mario, I don't think he had dopamine in mind. He was like, I have something that's fun for the kids. It's a cool little story about a fat guy who can jump,
Yeah.
And it stole our hearts.
I think that's it. I think I guess if we have any key takeaways from this, set limits, try to be actively engaged with them. Try to play the games with them if you can. At least that way what you're putting the ban hammer on. Or, at least you're having a bit of a bonding experience too. 8 and 10 is still very young. I think when they're in their teens, they're gonna you're screwed. I had to break it to you, but they're gonna go into a deeper dark cave and they're gonna play Call of Duty or whatever they want to play, and they're teens, so you can't really stop them. Good luck.
When they're teens, you're screwed either way. If they're like happy and healthy and involved in sports, and they knock a girl up when they're 16 because they're popular at school and well-spoken, every path they can go down could lead to horror for you. So, so you never know.
Anyway, this is the Birth Control Podcast. Okay, let's take another quick break. We'll come back with a little bit more just to wrap up the show. Okay, we're back. I think we're gonna do our first ever, another new segment, our first ever nerd news.
An experimental project for our
Yeah,
podcast.
you sound so excited, but I'm not a journalist by any nature, so take all of this with a grain of salt. Do your own research, etc., etc. But there were a few stories that caught my eye in the video game and D&D news cycle the last week or two or three.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
First one I wanted to talk about, and we kind of actually alluded to this idea before. So recently, and this I think originally reported by Bloomberg, but I'm reading it from PC Gamer, that Hasbro has canceled a D&D game from the studio that had the director was from the Jedi Fallen Order game, who had also worked on God of War 3.
Yeah.
So the team is called Giant Skull, led by Stig Asmussen. And so, yeah, they had a licensing deal with Hasbro to make an action, D&D action game. And it is canned. It's gone. And we didn't really get much out of Hasbro other than saying basically, hey, we look at all of our licensing agreements and projects at regular intervals, and this one just didn't make sense.
Yep.
So I don't know. What do you think about this? I mean, Hasbro is in a weird situation where they're trying to like milk everything they have for all that it is worth. For example, Magic the Gathering and all of their crossovers with all other IP and everything, and they're kind of doing similar stuff with D&D, to be honest, which I don't really like to see personally.
No, I don't like Hasbro having its hands on D&D.
Yeah.
But I think that, I mean, a D&D action game, like, what are we... It's not like the first time this has happened, but it's like this... It's not what D&D is. It's generic fantasy world action game. Slap D&D on it. But also, I'm just not to an action game, so I wouldn't have played it either way.
It depends. Like, I mean, if it was like The Witcher or something, but on the Sword Coast, that would be pretty cool.
That could definitely be cool.
I'd be into that. But if it was just like another Dark Alliance, like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance,
get out of here with that.
Yeah, because they remade that somewhat recently, and that didn't really pan out.
If there was like a D&D team up with the Dark Souls Elden Ring guys, like From Software, and they were like, we're gonna make, a crossover and essentially like a very dark D&D world, I would be so down to have that cool. With the deep character customization that those guys are known for, and that'd be lovely. But this, like, I don't know. And what are those Jedi Fallen Order games famous for? The incredibly buggy, unfinished gameplay, right? So
I think the second one was better received potentially, but I think if it was a Witcher-style D&D game, I'd be interested. I would check it out. Anyway, I do wish Giant Skull all the best in their future endeavors. I don't know. I wonder how hard it is to work with Hasbro, that even Larian Studios, who made Baldur's Gate 3, even they were like, you know what? We're not doing DLC for this. We're done. Like, I wonder how much of that was they were over the project, or they were like so sick of working with Hasbro. This is just conjecture, by the way. Don't think that this is proven, but I do wonder how hard it is to work with Hasbro as like the IP owner.
Probably very hard. They're so ginormous and like this big vanilla conglomerate bullshit. So it's like when you get to a certain size, you just lose any sort of integrity artistically, and you might make some damn impressive gains quarterly, but you're not necessarily. But it's all in the service of like how much can we grow in the short period of time. Pump stuff out, and occasionally you'll find a gem because you're working with Larian.
Yeah.
Like if you're paying the right people, you can still create some great stuff. But Hasbro, as it stands now,
I think Baldur's Gate 3 is the exception to the rule, right?
Exactly.
That one happened to be a mega success, and now Hasbro like smells blood in the water, and they're like, okay, throw D&D on everything.
Exactly.
People love this stuff. I'm like, they don't love D&D. They love Baldur's Gate 3 because it's an amazing game.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah. Anyway, that is the first story of the day. Next story coming out from Nintendo, where they kind of shadow dropped a remake of Star Fox 64, which I'm not a huge Star Fox guy, other than maybe in Smash Bros, which I would say most people at this point are.
Come on.
Yeah. So I can't help but think that a few things before I read a hilarious quote by the original creator of Star Fox. But I can't help but think that this is just a cash grab, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like they are like, we have one Star Fox game that was ever good, and it's this one, and we don't know what to do with this franchise, so let's just. Oh, and we just happen to put out the Mario movie hey, Fox McCloud is in this movie, which from what I understand, the whole movie is just like product placement and drivel and garbage. So it's like, here's Fox McCloud. You can find him in Star Fox 64 remake because it's the second time this game has been remade.
Yeah.
And you can play it on Switch 2. And also, we're raising the price of the Switch too.
Well, as we all know, Nintendo's current form is I don't like sort of hating so much on big companies just for existing, but there's a certain point where they kind of lose their integrity a little bit, and Nintendo is definitely hit that hump.
Oh yeah.
So this is it's a shameless, like, who's this targeted for? Remake of Star Fox 64, like.
Well, I'm not sure.
Kids are going to be into it.
I'm not sure. I don't know, but I think the original creator of Star Fox, Takaya Imamura, is also not sure, because upon this announcement, I mean, he tweeted, and it just I'm just going to read it. I wake up in the morning, a ton of messages have come in. Oh, Star Fox is finally making a comeback. I've got a post about this. Wait, this isn't a dream, right? I guess this is how it turns out if I'm not supervising, or something like that. That's what he writes. And then he says, I think the concept is good. Personally, I prefer the movie version. But I thought this one was good in its own way with a clear direction. So, I mean, it's kind of a bit of a backhanded way of putting things.
I mean, it's a remake. It better have a clear direction.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Chuck E. Cheese animatronics.
Oh, the visuals? Just look it up. They
I don't want to
upset me.
I don't want to get into the discourse because I think a lot of people are very heated about this.
Yes.
It's true. They did have a clear direction. Mm-hmm. It does not look like the Mario movie version, which is this is like almost hyper realistic version of these animals.
Yeah.
It's fine. Look, it's not for me. I don't know. I think if I wanted to play it, I'd probably just go play the original. I don't think they're even adding too much. I think they're adding some like scenes and stuff, but they're not adding new levels or anything like that. So
don't you love
what are we doing here?
Don't you love cutscenes with weird, hyper realistic animals?
I guess it kind of looks like if you took like a GameCube era 3D game and just up-resed it.
I had the Star Fox game for the GameCube.
Ooh, and Assault was it? Or
I forget what it's called, but I kind of got I got stuck in one part like really early on where you have like a bow staff, like a stick basically.
Yeah, because you're walking around.
I'm like, oh, this wasn't really what I was expecting, and it was like a very adventure game. You got to find the thing, and I was like, I hate this, and I just put it down, and that was the end of it.
The things that I've heard, and maybe take this with a grain of salt, is that those games were not meant to be Star Fox games, and they were actually just going to be like their own. There's one called like it was supposed to be called like Dinosaur Planet or something.
Okay.
And you're just it was supposed to be an adventure game, and then late in development, the higher ups came up and said, what if this was a Star Fox game, though? Slap Star Fox on there, because we haven't gotten him out on this console yet.
There were some shooting parts, but I guess it's fun. And then you're down on the ground. Like, I'm all for Star Fox kicking ass, like he does in Smash Bros.
Yeah,
for sure. But this was, it was bad. But that explains a lot. Because it was like an adventure game. And I'm not a very adventure game guy, because I'm stupid. And I as a child, you get an adventure game on like a diskette. And I'm stuck immediately because I'm like, what do they want me to do? And you put that in 3D, it just makes it even harder.
I don't know. I'm not. Star Fox. I've never really gotten into the whole rail shooter thing. Like, it's
fine.
Interesting. It's not long. It's a short game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm worried about what they'll price this at, because it's like, hey, here's a $80 remake of a remake of a remake.
Nintendo will charge what they charge.
Yeah.
For their Nintendo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On that note, everybody, let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening. Bit of a shorter episode this week, but that is a-okay with me because it's very hot in this room.
Yes, it is.
So thank you everybody for listening. If you want to support the show, you can do so by liking this on YouTube or giving us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever your podcasting platform is that you like to use. But better than that, share it with a friend because that's the only way we are going to grow farm to table, like we always say. Yeah, hit that share button. Anyway, it's been real. Thanks so much, everybody, and have a good one.
Bye.